Hello, I'm Jose Villanova, Solutions Architect here at Axway, and in this video, we'll talk about Axway's approach to internal file transfer. Our internal file transfer capabilities are a key pillar of our overall MFT platform offering. Please refer to some of our other videos that discuss B2B external file transfer, self-service concepts, central governance of your MFT deployments, as well as monitoring and operational visibility components. Okay, let's understand why a peer-to-peer solution is a critical part of your MFT strategy. But first, how many categories of file transfer are there? Axway looks at managed file transfer from three key perspectives. The first perspective is external B2B file transfer. This is the need for secure file exchange between your internal department's file shares, servers, and applications, and your external partners, clients, banks, regulatory agencies, to name a few. The second perspective is internal peer-to-peer file transfer. And this is the need to exchange files between internal users, servers, and applications without double hopping or bottlenecking the B2B gateway. And the third perspective is ad hoc or human dynamics. And this is the need for secure file sharing and collaboration, but typically in a non-standard, non-automated format. Many who have a file transmissions gateway but haven't adopted a peer-to-peer solution for internal file transfer frequently ask the following two questions, and they go something like this. If our current file exchange gateway has all the protocols and the processing capabilities to do internal and external file transfer, why do I need an internal file transfer solution? And what value does a peer-to-peer solution provide on top of my investment in a file transmissions gateway? I will answer both questions in the next few minutes. Let's start by looking at this from a bird's eye view. Currently, you rely on your file transmissions gateway to exchange files with your external business partners. And you're likely using it for many internal transfers too. Many transfers can consist of small or medium-sized files between 5 and 20 megs. Still, more frequently, companies and organizations across all industries are seeing internal file transfer volumes increase in size and quantity. This puts unnecessary load on the gateway, which must always be available and run nimble to process files quickly, efficiently, and in adherence to your SLAs. So question, what would happen to your operations if your file transmissions gateway were to go down? Here are a few that we can think of. First, you can't exchange files with your partners, and some costly SLAs can be breached if it's not brought back up on time. But in addition, and perhaps more importantly, your internal operations and business processes are paralyzed, as they too depend on the gateway for internal file transfers. Now let's take a closer look to see what is really happening. First, a connection is made from an internal server to the file transmissions gateway. The gateway may be running on-prem or in the cloud as shown in this illustration. The file is transferred and then goes through unnecessary processing like virus scanning. It also consumes resources like storage and network bandwidth, and if the payload is encrypted, it must be decrypted and re-encrypted, and possibly encoded. And finally, a new connection is established to the target system. Some protocols like SFTP or SSH are resource heavy, which takes up valuable processing power. Now imagine this hundreds, thousands, or several million times per month. To alleviate this, some choose to double down and scale their gateway to meet those volumes, even if they're inconsistent. However, they see the need to do so due to the critical files being exchanged. This is inefficient and eats up the ROI one expects by going to the cloud. Without an internal peer-to-peer file transfer solution, your business processes that rely on the gateway may be at risk. Bottlenecking the gateway can be detrimental if it runs all your internal file transfers, especially those files that are large. And when performance takes a hit, SLAs are breached and profitability is impacted. Transfers between disparate operating systems introduce complexity, and maintaining access to the source and target servers can become a chore for your MFT team. Security when transferring between servers and applications is critical if you have a hybrid cloud strategy, And when moving big files, traditional SFTP and HTTPS don't cut it. So don't put all your eggs in one basket by using the file transmissions gateway as your sole means for all file transfers. Okay, let's plug in Transfer CFT. Transfer CFT is Axway's peer-to-peer solution for internal file transfer. With our lightweight Transfer CFT agents deployed on your servers, applications, and file shares, you can exchange files internally fast, securely, and with minimal amounts of resources. More importantly, you keep your gateway deployment tight and nimble to protect ROI and reduce SLA and performance risk. Let's take a closer look at Transfer CFT. Transfer CFT is OS agnostic but OS aware. You can deploy agents on servers running Unix, Windows, ZOS, IBM iSeries, OpenVMS, HP Nonstop, Mainframe, and more. And files exchanged between them are done efficiently and without worrying about conversion. Transfer CFT can also connect to cloud storage like AWS 3 to push and pull files. But in the simplest form, Transfer CFT agents scan the server file system and directories for new files and exchange them fast, securely, and reliably. It uses a protocol developed by Axway called PESIT. With PESIT, we guarantee the delivery of files and their integrity. Using a combination of acceleration capabilities like UDP and parallel TCP, and we add checkpoint restart to resume file transfers in the case a network or connection is interrupted or terminated abruptly without having to restart the transfer from the beginning. You can also add pre and post processing using out-of-the-box features or scripts to, for example, send an email after the file has been transferred, or copy a file, or simply place a trigger file. Pre and post processing can be done on both the source and target CFT agents, which enable processing capabilities to meet the edge cases the business demands. So what does internal file transfer look like with Transfer CFT? It looks like this. One connection, that's all. It never leaves your firewall, and more importantly, it keeps your internal file transfer truly internal, so that your gateway is not just as nimble as possible, but you can run it as cost efficiently as possible, realizing the ROI you expect by going to the cloud. By now, you may be wondering, this makes sense and seems ideal, but how do I deploy, configure, upgrade, and manage all of these agents? Do I manage them individually? For example, what if I have 300 backend servers with applications and file systems? Will this become a management nightmare? And the answer is not one bit. We've solved that with our central governance component, Flow Manager. In the next video of this series, we'll dive deeper into Flow Manager, our central governance and self-service component, but for now, we'll focus on how Flow Manager provides central governance of all your CFT agents in one single, easy-to-use web UI. With Flow Manager, logging into each individual agent is a thing of the past. Flow Manager fully governs CFT agents and can push server access and file transfer job configuration to them. It can remotely upgrade and update agents, and because this happens via APIs, you can provide internal file transfer self-service using your own workflow or ITSM tools like ServiceNow. Or you can use the self-service features of Flow Manager and have your end users sign on via single sign-on and set up file transfer even if they're not tech savvy. More on self-service in the next video of the series. Let's get into the demos. First, I'll be installing a Transfer CFT agent in a Linux environment. Then, I'll remotely upgrade it to the latest version using Flow Manager. And lastly, I will deploy a file transfer job between two Transfer CFTs from Flow Manager. Let's start by installing a Transfer CFT agent and having it self-register to Flow Manager. First, I'll show you the installation package. Then, I'll run the installation. And finally, we'll validate that it's self-registered in Flow Manager without additional input. Before we start with the installation, I want to log in as an MFT admin to Flow Manager and show you the different CFTs we have registered here already. we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 CFTs installed. We're going to install a 9th CFT in a Linux server. Okay, what you see here is a cloud server running a version of Linux. I have my transfer CFT installation package uploaded here. And as you can see, there are two files within the package. One is the installer itself, and the other is the properties file that the installer will use to set up and configure the transfer CFT. The installer can run in UI mode, command line mode, or silently. In this case, we're going to install it silently. The initialized properties file you see here can be used to install transfer CFT silently by pre-populating some parameters. You can also use tools like Ansible to pre-populate these. Some parameters include configuration for a single node or cluster mode, installation and runtime directory, security, ports for protocols and API integration, SAML, Windows services, Java paths, and of course, Flow Manager registration. I've written a simple script to show you how easily transfer CFT can be deployed at a mass scale. Using tools like Ansible or good old command line, we can install transfer CFT and have it self-register silently. Let me take you through this script quickly. In this script, I will be passing 4 parameters. 1 will be the name of this agent, 2 will be the host name of the server, 3 will be the installation directory, and 4 will be the license. In simple terms, this script will call the application installer. It will run it in unattended mode, which means silently. We'll pass on the installation directory from the parameter we passed, and we'll let the installer know where the properties file is so it knows how to configure CFT. Then we'll just check to make sure everything ran correctly, and we'll get a prompt saying that we have installed it successfully. Okay, we're ready to install. Here is the script I wrote. I'm going to pass it 4 parameters as we had mentioned. The first one will be the name of this agent. The second will be the host name of this server. The third will be the installation directory where we want to install. And the fourth will be the license key for this transfer CFT agent. Okay, our installation is complete. I'll log into Flow Manager once again and confirm that the CFT was registered. And there it is. This is the CFT name we gave it, and it was installed in server CFT 9. Let's go ahead and remotely start that CFT agent. Okay, let's review. First, you saw how easy it is to configure a transfer CFT for installation and its lightweight runtime. Second, you saw how transfer CFT can be installed using a simple script. This makes it easy to distribute and install across existing and new servers using tools like Ansible, Terraform, and good old command line. And third, you saw how transfer CFT self-registered into Flow Manager, where we have central governance of all of our transfer CFTs for easy management. Our installation is now complete. Let's upgrade our CFT agents now. I'll start by logging into Flow Manager as an MFT admin. I'll then use the Transfer CFT plugin within Flow Manager to manage all of the agents, and within the plugin, I'll upgrade multiple CFTs in one go. I'm logging in as an MFT admin into Flow Manager. In the list of CFT agents that we have deployed, you'll see that we have several running on version 3.9 and a few others on 3.10. Let's go ahead and upgrade those on 3.9. I'll go to Product Plugins, then I'll select the plugin for Transfer CFT. I'll go to Updates. I'll click 3.10. I'll click Upgrade. And here are the eligible transfer CFTs that can be upgraded to 3.10. Let's select all of them. And what we'll do is when I'll press Upgrade, the Flow Manager Transfer CFT plugin will push the upgrade to those agents, upgrade them, and bring them back online. And there they go, they're initializing. There we go. We've updated our CFT agents remotely by pushing the upgrade to them instead of going to each one of them individually. Now let's go back to Flow Manager. All of our CFTs are now upgraded to 3.10, the latest version. Let's review. First, you saw how all of our transfer CFT agents can be managed from one simple to use UI. Second, you saw the Transfer CFT plugin in Flow Manager that allows us to manage all of our transfer CFTs from certificates and protocol configuration to bandwidth policies and upgrades. And third, we upgraded several CFTs with one single click. Great! The upgrade of our CFT agents is now complete. Let's deploy a file transfer job. First, I'll log into Flow Manager as an MFT developer and select or reuse from an existing flow pattern to start the setup of our file transfer job. I'll then provide the file transfer information like the source CFT, source directory, protocol, destination CFT, and a few other technical bits. And finally, I'll deploy the job and validate it by placing the file in the source folder. Before we get into it, let's look at a simple scenario. We have a new partner, partner E, who will send us EDI files. The file gateway will ingest the file and transfer it to the EDI system for processing. However, if we take a closer look at the EDI processing system, this EDI processing system places the processed EDI file that was translated to XML in a partner-specific folder by design. That means that the processed file for our new partner, partner E, will be placed in their specific folder. And a file transfer job needs to be deployed to send the processed files to the ERP system. To fulfill this requirement, we want to avoid double or triple hopping by using the external file transfer gateway for reasons we covered just a few minutes ago. What we want is an internal file transfer between the EDI and the ERP system, so we'll use the transfer CFT agents already running there. I'll log in as an MFT admin to Flow Manager, and then I'll go to Patterns. Here are a list of patterns that I can use to set up file transfer fairly quickly. If I know the name of my pattern, I can type in the name here, or I can filter. In this case, we want to go from an application to another application. I'll click Search. And here are a list of patterns that I can use. This is exactly the pattern we want to use, but for this demo, I'll be recreating it so you can see the UI experience. I'll name this pattern App CFT App to find it easily, and I'll add a description, app to app file transfer pattern. I'll select the source as an application using transfer CFT, and the target being an application using transfer CFT as well. We won't be using a relay in this case, and the protocol we will use is our fast and efficient protocol PESIT, and we will be pushing from the source to the target. I'll click Save now. I'll select the pattern we just created, and I'll click Create Subscription. We'll talk more about templates and subscriptions in the next video when we talk about self-service. Let's name our file transfer. We'll call it Partner E, EDI process files to ERP. Let's select the source application, in this case EDI. You'll see that the communication profile, in other words, the protocol, is automatically selected. If there was more protocols, I'd be able to select from here. In this case, we chose PESIT in the pattern, therefore this is the only protocol. Let's select the target application, which is ERP. You'll see that the receiver communication profile is also pre-populated. Let's scroll down. I'll type in my email as I'm the owner of this file transfer job, but typically you would put the email of the person that would need to be contacted in case something were to happen to this flow. I'll scroll down some more. Here I can request a target CFT to provide an acknowledgement to the source CFT that the file transfer was successful. Here we can select the network protocol. PESIT is a TCP-based protocol, so we can choose to send it over a single TCP connection or use UDT, which is our version of UDP, where we can send files in a shoot and forget fashion. And if we care about the file integrity, but we need faster file transfer, we can select parallel TCP, where the CFTs will open up parallel TCP connections to transfer that file quickly. For now, we'll select TCP. Now let's set up source folder monitoring. I'll specify the source directory, EDI, process TRP, partner E. I'll need to specify a temporary directory where the file will be copied to while the file transfer is in transit. Once the file transfer has concluded, the file will automatically be deleted from this temp folder. If a copy of this file needs to be archived in a separate directory, I can specify it here. For now, we'll leave it empty. If I need to filter what files are sent and excluded, I can use a filter here. Here are the available filter types. I can use wildmat, string JCMP, or even regex. To keep things simple, I'll choose wildmat, and we'll want to transfer everything except those files that end with .tmp. Transfer CFT can prioritize file transfers. You have values from 0 all the way up to 128. I'll select 10 since this file transfer is critical but not the most critical. Let's scroll down some more. Here I can select whether I want a single file to be sent or multiple files at the same time. I'll select directory since I want all the files to be sent at the same time. I'll type the source folder where the files will be located, and if I need the files to be renamed while they're in transit, I can specify that here. We'll leave it empty for now. There are a few other properties for encoding and record formats. These are important when you are transferring from or to operating systems such as ZOS, OS400, HP Nonstop, and mainframe. For now, we will skip these and go on to other fields. Now let's specify what folder and what name should be used when writing those files to the target folder. This is the directory in the target system where we will place all the files. This symbolic variable stands for network file name, which means that the file name from the source will be used the same for the target. There are various amounts of symbolic variables that can be used to rename the file according to your business needs. Now that we've provided all the technical bits, we can save this or we can go ahead and deploy. I'll go ahead and deploy. I'm in the source system and source directory where we're going to write a file so we can validate that our file transfer is working. I'm going to write a 10 megabyte file called, let's call it processed file for ERP.xml. And it should leave in less than 5 seconds. And it's no longer there. Let's check the target system and directory. I'm in the target system and target directory. I'm going to do an ls to see if our file is there. And there it is, processed file for ERP. This concludes the validation of our file transfer job. I can also view my file transfers by going to MFTOI, our analytics engine, and seeing all my transfers here. Okay, let's review. First, we saw how simple it is to create a file transfer pattern and how they can be reused, many of which come out of the box with Flow Manager. Second, you saw how we set up a file transfer job and the extensive capabilities and transfer controls we have out of the box to meet the processing demands of your business or organization. Third, we deployed the job with one click without going to the individual CFT agents and validated that it was working as intended. Perfect. Deployment is complete, and that concludes our 3 demos for this video. Here's a summary of the benefits. Axway's peer-to-peer transfer CFT solution provides operational efficiency by reducing your dependency on the gateway and allowing your gateway to remain nimble and protect the ROI of going to the cloud. Guaranteed delivery reduces the risk of missing costly SLAs with checkpoint restarts. You save time and automate by eliminating unmanaged file transfer scripts and encoding conversion. And you're able to manage and maintain all your CFT agents from one pane of glass using Flow Manager. Secure your file transfers on-prem and in the cloud and everywhere in between. And be SLA compliant with acceleration using UDP, Parallel TCP, or PESIT, a faster and lighter TCP-based protocol than SFTP or SSH. Thank you for watching this video on internal peer-to-peer file transfer. I hope you learned something new. I'm Jose Villanova, Solutions Architect here at Axway. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.